Was 96. His burial Westminster Cemetery. Other death info, none. Other military info.
Hello, my name is Daniel Setup Cheney, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the veteran whose name is William Brown. He was born in Richmond, Ontario, August 12, 1896, and died in 1954 at the age of 58. His job was a farmer, and he was 5'8". His eyes and hair were brown, and he was Presbyterian as his religion. He was single for his whole life, and his regiment number was 3322591.
Hello, my name is Mara, and my veteran is Owen. He was born February 11th, 1897, in Ashton, Ontario. His parents were Mr. William Laughlin. He was a farmer. He was 5'7". He had brown eyes, brown hair. He was Roman Catholic. He joined the Army on June 15th, 1918. He joined in Ottawa. His regiment number is 3322733. His regiment was 2nd Depot. He died 1962 when he was 65.
Hello, my name is Adam, and I would like to tell you about my veteran, Melville Rowe. He was born on August 21st, 1898. He was born in Munster, Ontario. His parents are Jane Ray, Sarah Ray. His brothers and sisters are Jane Ray, Sarah Ray, Thomas Ray, Samuel Ray, James Ray, Jane M. Ray, and Anne Ray. He was the 6th of 9 children. He was a railroad clerk. He was 5'7". He had blue eyes, brown hair. His religion was Methodist. His date of enlistment was August 1st, 1916, at age 18. His place of enlistment was Ottawa. His regiment number was 342822. His regiment was 72nd Queen's Battery, CEF. His wife was Hazel P. Falls. His year of death was 1961 at age 63. His place of burial was Munster Cemetery.
My veteran is Claire Thomas Riley. His address was Richmond, Ontario. His date of birth was December 15th, 1896. His place of birth was Richmond, Ontario. Claire Thomas Riley was single, and he remained single for the rest of his life. His religion was Presbyterian, and his trade was farming. Riley's next of kin was Mrs. Catherine Jane Riley. His relationship with her was that she was his mother. His mother's address was Richmond, Ontario. At that time, Riley was not at present a member of the active militia. He also had no particulars of previous or naval service. Claire Thomas Riley's regiment number was 3325714, and he was in the 2nd Depot Battalion. Riley was 5 feet 6 inches. His eyes were blue, and he had brown hair. He was 21 years and 8 months when he enlisted on June 29, 1918 in Ottawa. His household members were Thomas S. Riley, Catherine J. Riley, Erik E.W. Riley, Sarah J. Riley, Claire T. Riley himself, and another Sarah Riley. Claire Thomas Riley's age at death was 90, and his date of death was 1896. This wraps up my presentation on Claire Thomas Riley.
Hello, my name is Connor, and my veteran is Leroy Otter Tubman. He was born on March 24th, 1886, in Goulburn. Before he enlisted, he was a cheesemaker and he was not married. He enlisted in Ottawa on January 2nd, 1915. He was 5'85", and he had brown hair, and gray eyes. His dad was William Tubman, and his mom was Janet Butcher. After the war, he married Judith Bradley, and he died at the age of 65.
Hi, I'm Helena, and I will be telling you about the World War I veteran William Davis Bate. He was born August 8, 1898, at Carleton Place, Ontario, Canada. His parents were James Gilmore Bate and Harriet Davis. His brothers and sisters were Mrs. Clyde McKillham and Albert Bate. He was a laborer before the war, and after the war he became a paper maker. His height is 5'8". His eyes were blue and his hair was auburn. He was Anglican. His date of enlistment was the 2nd of October, 1915. His regiment number was 219-832. He was in the 80th Battalion. He married after the war on the 4th of April, 1928, and he married Lena Myrtle Boyle. His children were Edward, Doreen, Marion, William, Sandra, and Carol. He died July 1st, 1983 at the age of 84 in hospital. That's William Davis Bate.
My name is Asha Joseph, and I'm going to be talking about James McCarthy. James McCarthy was born August 11th, 1881. He was born in Richmond, and his parents were Margaret and Jeremiah McCarthy. His brother and sisters were Agnes, Margaret, Mary, and Daniel McCarthy. He was a harness maker at 5'8", had blue eyes and black hair. His date of enlistment was May 22nd, 1916, and he was enlisted in Saskatoon. His regiment number was 255-638, and his regiment was 1st Mounted Rifles. He was married to Mary Alice Delaney, but died in 1918 at the age of 37. He was buried in Richmond Catholic and Vimy Ridge, and he can be found on page 453 in the Book of Remembrance. He died in the Battle of Aries.
My veteran is William Mills. His date of birth was December 8th, 1892. His place of birth was Richmond, Ontario. His parents were Charles Mill and Crystal Clark. He was an only child. His job was an accountant. His height was 5 feet 7 inches. His eye color was blue and had dark brown hair. His religion was the Church of England. He enlisted on June 15, 1917 in Ottawa. His regiment number was 2265729. His regiment is signal training. He was single and had no children. He died on 1986. He was 94 when he was dead.
Hello, my name is Ben, and I would like to speak to you about my veteran, Elmer Garland. He was born March 11th, 1896, in Bruce Country, Ontario. His parents were James Garland and Elizabeth Garland of Cargill, Ontario, and he didn't have any brothers or sisters. His job was an operator. His date of enlistment was February 28th, 1916. His place of enlistment was Paisley, Ontario. Regiment is 160th. His height was 5'7". His eyes were gray, his hair was dark brown, and his religion was Church of England. He was buried in Munster Cemetery and died December 24th, 1956. His age of death was 60. His wife was Beatrice Trimble.
Hello, my name is Matthew, and my Vernon is Jonathan Vernon Featherston. His date of birth was September 5th, 1890, and his parents were William Grantford Featherston and Mary Jane Morden. His brothers and sisters were Laura, Thomas, Wesley, and Herbert, and he was the second of five. His job was a locomotive fireman, and his height was 5'8". His eye color was gray, his hair color was brown, and his religion is Anglican. His date of enlistment was May 29th, 1917. His place of enlistment was Saskatchewan. His regiment number is 223333. His regiment was 1st Mounted Rifles. He was single. His date of death was September 29th, 1918. His age of death was 28 years old. And his place and other military was that he died in the Battle of Cambria. And his burial is in Court, France, near Cambria. His other death info you can find him in the 406th page of the Book of Remembrance. And this is a picture of Jonathan Vernon Featherston.
My veteran is Arthur Nealon. He was born July 29th, 1895 in Richmond, Ontario. His parents were Samuel Nealon and Margaret E. Nealon. He had no brothers or sisters. He was a farmer. He was also 5 feet tall, had hazel eyes and dark hair. He was a Methodist. He enlisted in January 3rd, 1917. His regiment number was 344936. After the war, he married Edith May Goulburn, but they had no children.
Hello, my name is Philip, and my veteran's name is Peter Haggerty. He was born in Fulham, London, England on October 30th, 1888. He had a brother whose name was John Haggerty. Peter's eyes were blue and his hair was dark brown. He was 5'11", and his profession was a railroad construction worker. His regiment number is 633689. Peter Haggerty was enlisted in Ottawa on April 14th, 1919. He died in 1974 at the age of 86 and was buried in Dwyer Hill.
Hello, my name is Amanda. My veteran is Daniel James O'Brien. He was born on September 5th, 1896. He was born in Dwyer Hill, Ontario. His mother's name is Mrs. Therese O'Brien. His brothers and sisters are Patrick O'Brien, Eliza O'Brien, Catherine O'Brien, Rosa O'Brien, Jane O'Brien, and Helena O'Brien. He was a farmer. He was 5 foot tall. He was 5'8", and his eye color was gray. His hair was black. His religion was Roman Catholic, and he was enlisted on the 21st of September in 1918. August 21st, 1918. He was enlisted in Ottawa, Ontario. His regiment number was 3322652, and his regiment was the 2nd Depot. His wife was Mary Ann Murphy. He died at the age of 46.
He died in 1942 and he was buried in Dwyer Hill.
Hello, my name is Erik and I would like to talk to you about Merton Nixon Rowe. He was born on January 30th, 1898 in Crystal City, Manitoba, Canada. His parents were Thomas Ogden Rowe and Anne J. Rowe. His sisters were Alberta, Nettie, and Leela. His job was being a horseman. He was 5'5". He had blue eye. His eyes were blue. He had dark hair, and he was United. His date of enlistment was June 15, 1917. His place of enlistment was Winnipeg. His regiment numbers 200-6380. His job in the military was the sapper engineer. He died in 1984. His age at death was 86, and he was buried in Munster Cemetery.
My name is Antonino, and I'm going to tell you about my World War I veteran, Owen. His date of birth was February 11th, 1897. His father was William Laughlin, and his mother is unknown. His brothers and sisters are unknown. His job was a farmer. He was 5 feet 7 inches. His eye color was brown, and his hair color was brown. His religion was Catholic. His date of enlistment was June 15th, 1918. His place of enlistment was Ottawa, Ontario. His regiment number was 3322733. His regiment was a depot battalion. He was single. He had no wife. He had no children. He died in 1962 at the age of 65. He's buried in Dwyer Hill.
Hello, my name is Alicia and my veteran is Dominic Timmons. He was born September 4th, 1897, and his place of birth was Ashton, Ontario. His parents were Mrs. C. Timmons and James Timmons. His brothers and sisters were Bella, Charlotte, James, Robert, Harold, and Willard. His job was a railway clerk, and he was 5 feet. His eye color was blue, and his hair color was black. His religion was Methodist, and his date of enlistment was January 17, 1918. His place of enlistment was Ottawa. His regiment number is 3320165. His regiment was 2, and his district number was 80. His year of death was 1944, and the cemetery was Dwyer Hill. He was married to Isabella Bryan, and his age of death was 47.
Hello, my name is Veronika. My veteran was Robert Falls. He was born on September 18th, 1892 in Ontario. His mother was Sarah J. Falls, and his dad was Robert Falls. Robert Falls had 3 brothers, Herman Falls, George Falls, and William Falls. He was a farmer. Robert Falls was 5 feet and 5 inches tall with hazel eyes and brown hair. His religion was Methodist. He enlisted at the age of 24, July 10th, 1916 in Ottawa. His regional number was 246582. He was in the 2nd Regiment. Robert Falls was single. He died in April 9th, 1918 at the age of 26 in the War of Hill 70. He is buried at the Munster Cemetery and at Taples and is found in page 405 in the Book of Remembrance. This is a picture of Robert Falls, and this is his tombstone.
Hello, my name is Matthew, and my veteran is Thomas Clare Riley. He was born on December 15th, 1896 at Richmond, Ontario. His parents were Catherine Riley and Thomas Riley. His brothers and sisters were Erik and Sarah Riley. He was a farmer. He was 5'6" with